Yes, it's already 4 minutes past, and we are going to start. We have a lot of people who want to join us live and who want to share with us experiences that will benefit everybody. I think we can only take 10 guests here, and others will be able to join us on others will be able to join us on Facebook. Unfortunately, we can only take 10 people here. Now we have 4 people. As I talk to you, we're already live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and we are live
On my
on
camera.
TikTok. So only when you want to talk, you can unmute yourself so that we won't be having, numerous sounds on the background. Thank you so much. I can see Joy. Joy, I hope you can be able to position yourself in the light so that,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
yeah, that's fine. That is fine. All right, so we are live now, and we can only take only 10 people here with us. The link is already
Okay.
shared, so others can join
Live.
later. But you can show your face if you want to. Remember, like I said, our aim is to learn from each other. Nobody knows it all. Okay, and I strongly believe that the experience of each and every one of us will be an encouragement. It will be a support structure, because it's either you learn from other people's lesson, or you may pay dearly by your own lesson. If you have to do everything by yourself, it's not always easy. Okay. So thank you so much, Minister Joy. Your face is glowing.
Dr. Kaka.
Your
It is
face is
well,
glowing.
oh.
No,
It's
I
the
have
Lord's
to.
doing, oh.
It's the Lord's doing, of course. I have to confess,
Yeah.
and I tell you most sincerely, it is not easy. Okay,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
tell you most sincerely, it is not easy. However,
Yes.
I strongly
Conjoinity.
appreciate your perseverance. I appreciate your persistence, your commitment, your discipline. I strongly believe these are the prerequisites, the primordial things that we need to make it at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of pain, to have
Mm.
to continue on the path of healing, but thank God for the zeal. So I think
Thank God.
it's 8 minutes past 7. So in 2 minutes time, we are going to start. Today, we're just going to talk about chemotherapy, and we're going to share our experiences, and we're going to look at, are there possible ways that we can overcome the ills of chemotherapy? If we can overcome the ills of chemotherapy, it will be a wonderful thing. And that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. As always, I don't want to leave us empty. I want everybody to have the opportunity to have information. A lot of people die from ignorance. And this ignorance is not because they want to be ignorant, but because nobody told them, you know. So we have 1 minute more, and we will have Minister Joy minister to our flesh and body.
Doctor.
So how is your
It's not
husband
only
now?
what I will minister. My husband is
What
fine,
you
oh.
minister? What you minister? You tell us. We just want to look at chemotherapy.
Okay.
We just want to look
Okay.
at chemotherapy, and remember that I am not I'm ignorant of the little challenges you have here and there, especially as regards to managing pain. Okay. So that's what we are doing is heart-to-heart discussion. That's why it's only people who are concerned that are allowed to be on board. So it's not so much of a public thing. It's only an opportunity for us to learn as a community and to know how we can improve our chances. All right, it's now 10 minutes past 7. So we're going to give Minister Joy the opportunity to share with us. Her story has been topsy-turvy, up and down. She's tried a lot of things, just like several of us may have also tried a lot of things, because nobody wants to stay at a place, without trying to improve their lot. Nobody wants to. Everybody, we are all looking for a way out. We are all looking for a way to heal. And that is why it's innate in us as humans, you know. So we're giving Minister Joy the opportunity now to share with us. Minister Joy, I've already
Sir,
tested your microphone. Your voice is loud like a minister, so we got nothing to be afraid of.
it
So,
is well, oh.
well, I know it's well. All right, I want you to share with us. Now you have the platform to share with us. Thank you very much, Minister Joy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Greetings to everyone.
yeah,
Good evening
yeah,
to everyone here.
yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about my experience and the journey of cancer and
Answer. Yeah,
the chemotherapy journey, also the experience.
yeah,
I just want to thank God, first of all, who has used this platform for us, we all. God is God that arranged this platform for us. If not God, I don't know. I don't know. My experience in chemotherapy, whatever I experienced, I think I've already heard everything from the platform first, from the doctor, the oncologist, Dr. Kaka. He has lectured us a lot concerning the healing of cancer, the process, even chemotherapy process, the side effects. I've heard a lot from him. Okay, I've also tried so many things on before I met this Dr. Kakaraka, especially when I joined the group. I've tried so many things, but what I have understood inside all the whole thing is that God bringing Dr. Kakaraka to this group, he has a reason. He wants to show mercy on those he wants to show mercy on, as he has said. That is why I think I am healthy. I can do a lot of things like this today. I can do a lot of things, a lot. My life and my health has improved so much that I'm eager to go back and continue my life. All these things happened because of this platform, the doctors. May God bless you all. So why I went for chemotherapy is because I needed a fast results, not because what we are doing in the group is not working or what the doctors are saying is not working. No, it's working. That is even what has helped me. That is what has helped me. Working on your terrain, it's very important, because I went for this chemotherapy even after hearing the stories that people are saying, and also I also Google so much. I do a lot of research to know how it works. If not that I'm somebody who has faith in God and believe that nothing can happen to me without God's permission, I would have been so afraid and I wouldn't have gone. But because I believe God, have a reason for everything that is happening. So I went to chemotherapy. I just had one session and I was supposed to have the second one yesterday on the 2nd, but we asked for 1 week before I go back. The chemo also helped me. I didn't suffer much after the chemo. It helped also give me some side effects, but it was not as I had it. When I sit down and start thinking about it, my mind always go to all the teaching in the platform, all the things to avoid. I've avoided sugar eating from February and also fasted so much, and I've been trying to obey and keep every instruction that is given to us. Then after the chemotherapy, even when I wanted to go, I was telling the doctor that I want to go for chemo because my reason is that as a cervical cancer patient, it caused me a lot of bleeding, and that bleeding is not funny because it makes me always lose blood, and before you know it, I'll be short of blood. So I wanted something that will help me to quickly stop that bleeding. That was why I decided that I should go for chemotherapy, because I know how much we have spent for blood, like 7 pints of blood since January that I've taken, and it's not easy. So much money and all the treatment. So I now decided to go for chemotherapy, and after when I had taken it, I came back healthy because they just gave me the thing for 9 hours. After they are finished, they don't ask us to go. I didn't sleep in the hospital. I came back. That was on Friday. On Saturday, that was on Thursday. On Friday, I was healthy. I was even now asking myself, the chemo is not affecting me. Hope all is well. Hope it will work. Like, Abby, is it the way it used to be? But on that Friday night, I couldn't sleep. I felt so much pain, so much pain. Saturday morning, I was not able to go to toilet. My stomach was strong, and they gave me some drugs for stooling. Like if I start stooling, I should take it to stop. They gave me some for vomiting. I didn't vomit. I didn't go to toilet. Instead, my stomach was very hard. Thank God for enema kit that I have at home. That was what I used with hot water. I helped myself that Saturday. I felt so much pain that I had to call them. My husband called them, was disturbing them. They asked him to bring me back to the hospital. I went back to the hospital and they gave me some injections through drip because of pain. I couldn't walk. My leg was shaking. If I want to put my foot on the ground, to start vibrating, like I can't carry my body, as in my leg cannot carry my body. So I suffered for that for like 3 days, 4 days. The 4th day, I think I start marching ground little by little. Then all that, that is the side effect I faced. The vomiting, I vomited only once. In the hospital when I went back on Saturday. That was when I vomit. I didn't vomit. I didn't have all the sore in the mouth or wound anywhere. No, it was only my leg, and I had pains. But after that medication, the pain stopped, and I was still busy doing the things we have been doing. Like I have a lot of fruit juice extracted from the vegetables that I'm using to do fufu according as the doctor instructed, because everything he said is what I'm doing. I don't mind. I just decide to do it because I know what I want. I have people I need to live for. So I was, and I've not fulfilled God's purpose in my life. So I have to. So I was now taking all those juice constantly, and all the supplements we have bought during when Dr. Kwakraka was also telling us to buy those things. So I was now on those things, steady. So I didn't feel much again. After a while, I just understand that even the discharge that makes me go to the
Chemotherapy.
yes, the
Yeah.
discharge automatically stopped. Like And in fact, the pain that makes me to take drugs every day, you know, after when doctor has introduced me to that natural pain relief, I was not using that natural pain relief. I use it in the morning. I will not remember to use again till maybe midnight. So with time, after the chemotherapy, after like 3 4 days, within 3 4 days, I forgot that I've not been taking pain relief. So that pain went away, you know. I've never felt any kind of pain. I've not been taking any kind of drugs like pain relief. It's 3 weeks now. It's more than 3 weeks that I went for chemo. It's more than this week now will make it 4 weeks. So
Hallelujah.
I thank God. So and I understand that it is not just because somebody called me and I was just chatting with the person, you know, I was doing some things online. The person says, you are a very strong woman. I say, it's not a matter of I'm strong, it's just God. And the platform that I am, they have taught us a lot how to build your terrain and work on your gods. And all those things is what I've been doing. So whatever happen, I know I'm going to be able come out victoriously. I'm a winner, not a loser. So my faith also, and the faith, the love from my family, everybody, my husband, my children, everybody was just supporting me. Like, in short, I thank God. Today, I felt like I should not, I'm feeling like I should not go back for the chemo. But when I listen to a doctor again, he say, no, don't cut it, don't stop it. Because I'm feeling like everything is has finished. Nothing is remaining there. Or even if it's remaining, maybe small, if I continue with all these natural things, maybe to finally dry up. So the chemo helped me, but it has its own side
Side
effects.
effects. Yeah.
Yes, yes. That
You
is
know, Minister Joy, the reason
sir.
why we are discussing this is because a lot of people are afraid. Okay,
Yes.
they are afraid because they lack some basic information that
Mm,
will aim to prepare their body for any kind of chemotherapy. Because
okay.
if people have the information and they are able to, put themselves on the trajectory of health, they would, because in some cases there are some certain cancers. That's why as an integrative oncologist, like I told you, I am not 100% against chemotherapy, but a lot of people, when I suggest chemotherapy, they feel so appalled. They're more like, so you say you are a natural therapist. Why are you talking about chemotherapy?
Mm,
Well, Minister Joy, do you know that the mainstream practice, the big pharma, or so we call it, the kind of money they invest in petrochemical drugs, in research about using chemicals to treat human beings, if they have that same investment in using natural things like herbs to treat human beings, we would have gone further than we have gone today. I'm not joking.
yeah.
If they took out
Yes.
time to research mistuto, to research shower shop leaf, to research and think of how to harness these things to have that direct effect, just like chemotherapy, we would have gone so much far. But the problem is because researching on herbs and continue to try to modify herbs, it does not pay them because herbs are everywhere. You can't tell my grandmother in the village not to go and get a mosquito.
Mm,
You see, so that's why they cannot. It's not patentable. So that's why they're not willing to make that investment. Okay, so this is one of the biggest challenges we have in the medical care because herbs does not pay, so they are not willing to do research. And just like there's a patient that we gave that same remedy for pain, but because of glorissa herb in that combo, the person started having some kind of palpitation. But when we did some research, we saw that there's another thing we can use to supplement that Glorissa. So because we couldn't, have a viable maybe research on PubMed that talked about all these things, we are not able to, arrest it immediately. So it took some time of asking questions, talking to more experienced herbalists and what have you, before we came to the conclusion of what works best for that patient. Okay. So another thing I want us to look at, because there are a lot of people in our group, unfortunately, these people, they want to be cured. Just like we have one of us in the group there, Ihuoma, all right, who some of us are contributing and trying to support. These people, everybody will want to, have solution. But the problem is, whenever the cost of this treatment is mentioned, it's not always easy. A lot of people will be thinking they don't have friends, they don't have relations, they don't have even they don't have money in their account. The treatment that they have been going through for some time may have even drained the little savings they have. I have a lot of patients who have sold properties, who have borrowed money, who have sold their land, sold their building just for this treatment. So I want you to share with us about the financial implication of chemotherapy, especially, so that people will have a little glimpse into what it takes. A lot of people don't know what it takes for chemotherapy. So I want you to share with us, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. The financial involvement, the chemo himself, I think they charge it by session.
Yeah.
So like the hospital we used, we did not use a general hospital, we use a private hospital. The woman is an professor oncologist at LUT. So she has her own hospital. So we used that hospital because we have made inquiry in other places like LUT, and the one place at Lekki, we went to Lekki, where we paid a consultation fee alone is 80,000 at that Lekki. They were like telling us from 400, 450, 500, we should be budgeting that for one session. So we didn't continue, we didn't go ahead to use that hospital. But this one that we used now, when we got there and discussed with her, she said 350 per session.
350,000.
Yes, she said 350 per session.
And so, how many sections did she recommend that you go?
She said 3 sessions. She said 3 sessions for me. Yes.
Okay, it would have cost roughly 1 million.
Yes, 1,50,000. If I'm not mistaken, yes, that is what it is. 1,50,000. So then she now said after that we'll be going for radiation, which we did not agree that we will do. So she was not telling us, we are not asking him the financial involvement. She said
radiation, yeah.
Yes, and the bracketing. She mentioned something like bracketing. So she was now like everything, both chemo, the radiation, and the bracketing, that we should be budgeting 4.5 million.
You see, it's a lot of money. How many people can afford 4.5?
That kind of million,
how many
yes.
people can afford 4.5 million for treatment?
That is it. So when she said it,
how many people?
So we by ourselves, we already know that we are not going to do other radiation and bracketing, as she said, because I know a lot of things has already changed. By the time we finish this 3 session, if we finish this 3 session, I think there will be a lot of improvement. I don't think I will be going for radio, because with that kind of money, we don't even. We have already spent a lot. So that is how much they. And this one thing about these people is, if they give you the treatment, what I observe, if you have any kind of a challenge after the the chemo. If you go back to that hospital, they are not going to treat you based on that the
The
amount
money
you
you
have
paid
already,
for the chemo,
the
you have
money
to
you
pay
paid
for
for
that
chemo.
one differently.
Yes, you have to pay for that one differently, because when we went back the next day, on Saturday, they said my husband should bring me back. When we went back there, the drip they gave me with the injection for pain, they were charging 100,000. You know, my husband got very
Mm.
angry and was like, it was this chemo that went and scatter my system. So why would they start charging an extra money? We
Another
end up
money
paying,
to treat the same
yes,
thing.
yeah, to treat the same thing, to manage the effects, the side effects. So they charge money to manage the side effects if you have to be going back to the hospital for them to manage it. So we end up paying 50, I think 57,000 after a lot of arguments. You know, my husband did not agree. But finally, he paid 57,000. So you see, that is how they are operating. Because I also have a friend, her own is breast cancer. She has already done her surgery and she wants to start the chemo. So where she is at Ibadan, the general hospital she
Mm.
wanted to use, they say 450.
That's the, that's UBTH Ibadan.
Yes, she said they said
Mm.
450. She was telling me we chat every day. She said 450. Then now she want to go back to a university hospital. She has already gone back there. Just that her veins are not showing. Her veins are not showing at all because of the kind of surgery that she had. So she has not started. So she's telling me now that it's like these people are going to collect 400,000 from her hand. So, but thank God where we use was only 350 they collected. So
Well, 350 again is not it's not beans. It's not easy. How
mm-mm,
many people can
afford
just pay
350.
350?
Mm,
Coupled with having already been exhausted, paying money here and there for one thing or
mm.
the other,
Yeah, so much money.
buying things for this
So
same
much,
treatment.
so much money, so much
I
money.
think maybe you have even spent more than that 4.5 million. If you calculate all the money you have spent
We
since
have
you
already
had the
spent.
diagnosis,
Yes, you're right,
you have
sir.
spent more than that. So now, how many
Yes.
people have even 1 million in their account? Yeah,
Mm.
assuming we go by how much Nigerian basic, that's what's called minimum wage of 70,000, which the government is priding themselves on. How many people who are earning 70,000 can afford the treatment? How many people? So it's
Hmm.
a very, very big, it's a very big challenge.
It's a very
It's a
big
very big
challenge.
challenge.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a very
It's
big
a very big
challenge.
challenge.
Cancer journey is,
Mm.
I've seen that it's not something that one need to joke with, because
It's not child's play. It's not
mm-mm,
child's play.
it's not.
It's not child's play.
Not.
It's not child's. All right. Thank you so much, Minister Joy. Your lessons, your experiences have been insightful. Okay.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I believe that a lot of people who are afraid of chemotherapy for one reason or the other, they would have got that little experience. I hope that we have the second person with us to share about breast cancer and chemotherapy, because yours is cervical cancer.
Yeah.
So I wanted us to, because chemotherapy, of course, is not exactly the same. It depends on the type of cancer that the person has. So, today we are discussing a topic that many cancer patients and families think about, but are often afraid to ask questions. A lot of people think, why does chemotherapy make them feel unwell? But just like Minister Joy said here, chemotherapy have assisted her small in, helping to at least stop the blood flow of her cervical cancer. But what we do when we talk about improving your terrain is so that by the time you fight and get rid of the cancer, you have a strong and sturdy terrain to continue to live your life. And at the same time, I know that for anybody who is on chemotherapy, there are significant side effects because chemotherapy does not only affect the cancer cells, it also affects healthy cells that are dividing rapidly. You know, chemotherapy is designed to address rapidly dividing cells, and cancer cells are rapidly dividing. How you know that they're rapidly dividing is because when a tumor forms, within a short while, you are going to see that tumor, you are going to see it grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So it grows faster than your regular cells. So that's why we say they are fast dividing cells. We explore the challenges that chemotherapy has, and we also try to offer, support alongside that kind of exposure to chemotherapy. So what we want to do tonight is to complement your conventional treatment. So it's not just to replace it, okay? So first of all, let us look at what chemotherapy is. Chemotherapy uses medicines that are designed to destroy rapidly dividing cells. The difficulty is that even healthy cells in places such as the bone marrow, the digestive tract, the hair follicles, your hair, for instance, if you cut your hair, after 1 week, the hair will start growing again. So the hair is a fast dividing cell, the hair follicles. So even the reproductive system, that's why when somebody goes on chemotherapy, he will do a very big harm to the reproductive system because it's also a fast dividing cell. So that's why they are affected chemotherapy. So this explains the reason why maybe when you go through chemotherapy, you will have fatigue. Many patients will say, I feel exhausted. Even after sleeping, they still feel weak and tired. When you go through chemotherapy, that's why you have anemia, because the blood cells are fast dividing cells. So chemotherapy will deal deliriously with your blood cells. You will have inflammation and you will have reduced calorie intake because, like I said, it affects the gut as well. And when you take chemotherapy, it will damage a lot of your gut microbiome. A lot of these things are responsible for the digestion, assimilation, and appropriation of food. So you will notice you will have reduced appetite. Even when they force food on you, it will be difficult for you to assimilate or absorb and appropriate those food. You see the reason why we suggest you take juices, because juices are already pre-digested. So you can continue to nourish yourself even after taking chemotherapy. We also have muscle loss after chemotherapy. The body's repair processes are affected. So, but what are the supportive measures that you can take when you undergo chemotherapy or when you are planning to undergo chemotherapy for any specific reason? One of them is to eat enough protein, because protein, as we all know, is the body building food. Another thing you can do as regards to chemotherapy is to, do some form of exercise, even if it's walking, some light movement, whenever it is possible, whenever you can, even if it means trying to force yourself to try to exercise, to jog, to walk, to skip, or to use the trampoline. It will go a long way in improving blood circulation and in strengthening you. No, even though it looks like exercise will zap up your energy, but it is a positive thing because even though it zaps up your energy, in the long run, it gives you strength. Another challenge we have in chemotherapy is nausea and vomiting. Because, like I said, chemotherapy can irritate the stomach and it can stimulate parts of the brain that are involved in nausea. In Minister Joy's case, because of the lifestyle that she has imbibed, because of the changes she has had in her diet, she was able to overcome this aspect of vomiting. She says she only had 1 or 2 episodes of that vomiting. But most people that don't understand this thing and go to chemotherapy, they will continue to vomit like they are in their first trimester, as pregnant women. So if you are experiencing that nausea and vomiting, how we want to combat it is by taking small, frequent meals. And in fact, we encourage you to take bland foods, especially if it is tolerated. Because if you want to eat spicy food, that is when it will irritate the gut the more and cause that nausea and vomiting. And if you're having that nausea and vomiting, we also advise you take adequate fluids. That is where the proprietary blends of juices that we talked about comes in. You blend your beetroot, your carrot, your celery, your cucumber, as much vegetables as possible. When you put them in the form of juice and take them, you are not only supplying yourself with electrolytes, but you're supplying yourself with minerals that the body will use to rebuild all the damage that chemotherapy may have caused. Another challenge we have with chemotherapy is mouth ulcers.
Minerals.
Chemotherapy will damage the lining of your mouth, and that will lead to painful sores. But how we support that is by oral hygiene, by you eating soft foods. That's where we talk about the smoothies. You can chuck your avocado pear, your nuts, pistachio, almond, hazelnut, walnut, Brazil nut. You can chuck these things in the blender with avocado, blend them. You can even add coconut, the flesh of coconut. When you blend it, it becomes a smoothie, just like ice cream. So if you are noticing that kind of ulcer, this is time for you to go on smoothies. I call them soft foods. Okay. Now, following your cancer team's advice, for anybody who is under chemotherapy, you would have gotten advice or directives from the oncology team. So that's why we will want to also marry any decisions we are making with what you are told in the hospital, because it is one body, it is you and you alone. So we have to harmonize everything so that we will not find the body wanting. In fact, after chemotherapy, a lot of people lose interest in food. And that is why you notice when somebody is having cancer and is undergoing chemotherapy, the person tends to lose weight. The person tends to have muscle wasting. The person tends to have weak immunity. The person tends to have delayed recovery. Because you are not eating the appropriate thing, you will notice that recovery becomes difficult. You're not taking in protein, you're not taking in electrolytes, you're not taking in minerals, you're not taking in vitamins. So what you need to strengthen the immunity, to strengthen the body, to rebuild the damaged cells is lacking. And remember, just like in computer, it is garbage in, garbage out. If you put nothing in, you can't get anything out. So what we do in this stance is to get people to maintain adequate nutrition, even if the meals need to be smaller and more frequent. But it's not the time to ask you to drink tea and bread. It's not the time to ask you to drink pap and sugar. It's not the time to ask you to eat gare and semo and what have you. It's the time for you to take into the body dense nutrition, or call it nutrient dense food. Now, there are some other people that the challenge they have after chemotherapy is hair loss, because the hair follicles, like I said earlier, it divides rapidly, so it's making them vulnerable to many chemotherapy drugs. Although it is distressing, hair loss is very temporary for many patients, and you can reverse it at the end of the treatment. Now, another challenge we have is the low white blood cells. Remember, the white blood cells are your defense cells, but they are also a fast dividing cells. So when you go through chemotherapy, you would have caused a little harm on the white blood cells. Because that's why whenever you pass through chemotherapy, you will notice that you readily catch an infection. Now, there are some people after chemotherapy, they can easily catch toilet infection. They can easily catch respiratory tract infection. They can easily catch sexually transmitted infection. The reason is because they are more like porous. The white blood cells have lost its integrity as a result of chemotherapy. So even though you have a woman who have passed through chemotherapy, she has like 3 daughters, they are using the same toilet. The woman will have toilet infection. The 3 daughters will not have toilet infection. It's because of the effect of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy will increase the risk of infection. Do you know there are a lot of people, it's not the cancer that kills them. It's not the chemotherapy that kills them, but it will not be an opportunistic infection as a result of weakened immunity caused by chemotherapy. So that's why what we do quickly is to try to rebuild the immune cells, try to rebuild the white blood cells. That's where taking vegetable, especially green juices, comes into play. We have the juice blend of the jatropha. It's called the hospital is too far. We will get you to blend it into a juice and take it as frequent. You can mix it with any other green vegetables like the parsley, the cilantro, the celery, the pumpkin leaves, the Vernonia amygdalina, which is the bitter leaf. I know it's bitter, but remember you are taking it to rebuild your white blood cells, to rebuild your immunity, and to build that protective mechanism that you need in the body. So you can douse the issue of that it is bitter or that it is sweet. Okay. Another challenge we have with chemotherapy is low platelets. The platelets help your blood to clot. So when the platelet counts are low after chemotherapy, it's easier for you to bruise. And when you have a cut, you notice you will bleed more than the regular person who didn't take chemotherapy. So what you do is, if you pass through chemotherapy, please take care of yourself. Be very careful not to expose yourself to sharp objects so that you don't endanger yourself to excessive bleeding. Another challenge we have with chemotherapy is anemia. Anemia. And this is very, very common because, like I said, the red blood cells also are fast dividing cells. So when you take chemotherapy, you will damage most of the red blood cells. And the red blood cells also take oxygen. They help oxygen to reach the tissues, the organs, the cells. Remember that the red blood cell have something that we call the hemoglobin. It is the hemoglobin that binds with the oxygen when you breathe in. And that is what binds with the oxygen to form what is called oxyhemoglobin. And that is what takes oxygen to the cells. So when you take chemotherapy, you will damage some of your red blood cells. So you will weaken your capacity to take in oxygen. And when the cells, you know what happens when you don't have enough oxygen? You will feel weak, you will feel fatigued. So the reason why somebody who passes through chemotherapy often feels weak is because of damaged red blood cell. And the red blood cell now, because it's damaged, is not having the capacity to take oxygen and circulate it around the cells, around the organs, and around the system, around the tissues in the body. That is why when you get chemotherapy, you will notice you are having breathlessness. One of us in the community who is supposed to talk to us tonight about chemotherapy. There are 4 people that are supposed to talk to us. One of us is having that breathlessness, and that's why she's not able to come on stage to talk to us. Because when I listened to her just this afternoon, I noticed that she's still having severe breathlessness. But I already told her what to do to combat that breathlessness. And I believe in the next coming days, like 3 or 4 or 7 days maximum, she will be able to rebuild her cells. Because again, the blood cells can be rebuilt faster if you do the right thing. Okay? So having that weakness, that breathlessness, that dizziness, that palpitation, it's because of the reduced red blood cells and the reduced capacity of the blood to take in oxygen. Another challenge we have with chemotherapy is digestive problems. Chemotherapy will cause diarrhea in some people, and it can also cause constipation in some people. Chemotherapy will cause bloating because when you damage the gut microbiome, you will notice that food will stay longer. The normal food that you stay 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hour in the gut will now stay longer, and it will putrefy in your gut, start fermenting in your gut, start forming gas. So you will notice your stomach will become strong because of gas, and you will be gassing easily. That is called flatulence. Okay, so these are the signs of chemotherapy, having undergone chemotherapy. Supporting the gut is very important, but you need appropriate nutrition. And one of the most important things that we continue to share as regards to rebuilding the gut microbiome is taking fermented foods. Fermented foods. That is the way you will rebuild your gut microbiome. That is the way you will now have metabolic flexibility, by taking fermented foods. Now, another challenge with chemotherapy, and the last one because of time, is what I call peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy. It means at the end of maybe your toes or your fingers, maybe you're not having sensation, because chemotherapy will tend to damage the nerves. The nerves. Okay? So this will affect your nerves. So you notice that in some patients, not everybody, they'll be having signs like tingling. They'll be having signs like numbness. Numbness. You'll not be having sensation at the extremes of your limbs. Or maybe they'll be having burning sensations. Or maybe they're having difficulty to balance. When they stand up, they will not have that balance. They will be trotting as if they want to, fall down. It's one of the effects of chemotherapy. So these symptoms, it's important if you have it to, report it promptly and then to take care. So what we need to use to combat this kind of symptom, because it's very dangerous for you to have a fall. You can have a fall and hit your head, and you can bleed, or something dangerous, God forbid, will happen to you. So it's very important for you to report it. But remember again that the B vitamins can support in rebuilding your nerves. The omega-3 and the good fats that we talk about, like the coconut oil, the avocado, the olive oil, the flaxseed oil, that will help in rebuilding your nerves. Okay. Another challenge, since we have more 5 minutes, is fertility changes. Certain chemotherapy medicines can affect fertility, both in men and in women. So if you are concerned about your fertility, maybe you still anticipate that you're going to have a baby in future, it's important that you discuss this with the oncologist so that they will know how to ration your chemotherapy sessions. The final one I want to mention is emotional effects. Emotional effects. There's one important thing about Minister Joy, and that is that she has a supportive family. She has a supportive husband. She has a supportive children. Her sons and daughters are supportive. In fact, in those days, and sometimes when she has pain, they will be with her. One person will be massaging her. One person will be petting her. One person will be, there is a wonderful family that have supported Minister Joy. And I pray and wish that each and every one of the people who have cancer should also have family that cares, because cancer treatments affect much more than the body. Many people who have cancer, they are anxious, they have anxiety, they are afraid, they are fearful, they are depressed. And you know what depression means? Depression is a dangerous thing. And they are lonely because there's a wall. They don't want to, disturb anybody, but they can't help it. And there's one of my patients who complained to me that her husband, because she has a fungating breast wound, so the wound is smelling. So in the night, her husband will leave the room and go to the sitting room and sleep. I do not blame that man, okay? But you can imagine what kind of loneliness the woman will be going through, because her better half, the man that she gave her life to build family, to support and what have you, appeared to have abandoned her at her time of want. So that's why I said this is something that we must all look out for. We must all find a way to support each other. That's why I said you must have to make friends that are going to support you, both in thick and in thin. Emotional support, family, friends, counseling, communities, and maybe having a patient support group like the Adigbo Global Group, like the other groups that we belong to, like the New Frontiers Group, Dr. Kakaka Group 1 and 2. It's a community where you can get support when you ask questions, when you make complaints. Do you know how many people in our diverse groups who have come and say, oh, we don't have money to buy food, and they got support instantly? That is community. So that's why you must have to belong to a supportive community. And also you must have to be willing to reach out, because a lot of people are dying in loneliness, in anxiety, in depression. Some people are even contemplating taking their lives because they lack that community. They lack, that support. Not because their cancer is so, dangerous, or that the prognosis is terrible. No, but just because they lack community. So this is something that we will continue to emphasize. All right, I think that is it. I've listed more than 12 different things that could come as a result of chemotherapy, and I have suggested ways that we can take care of it. So, Minister Joy, I know you are here with me again. This is you have one more opportunity to, encourage, the people in our community. They are listening to you. People are tuned on to you on TikTok. On TikTok, Minister Joy, I say we have more than have more than 600 people on TikTok. We have a lot of people on Facebook. We have a lot of people on YouTube. Okay, so just say something encouraging to people who have cancer, who are hurting. Maybe they don't have money for chemotherapy. Maybe they have money, but they're afraid. They don't know what to do. You can say 1 or 2 words of encouragement to them before we conclude this podcast. Minister Joy, over to you. Hello, Minister Joy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So I actually want to say to everyone that has cancer, whether breast cancer, prostate cancer, whatever cancer, cervical cancer, like me, I am a cervical cancer patient.
Yeah.
The knowledge I have now is for a cervical cancer patient, not for breast cancer patients.
Not for breast cancer, exactly.
Yes. So I can only say, based on my own experience, I will advise and encourage every one of us that is going through one cancer or the other. Sorry, my phone. To trust in God. First of all, trust in God. Put your faith in God.
Yeah.
You see, put your God, your faith in God, because see, I connected to different authors. I have a prayer group that I conduct prayer every Friday. You know, when I pray with them, they don't know. Many of them doesn't know that I am going through this kind of illness. They know that I'm not feeling fine. Most times I will not on the group call. I will not conduct the prayer. I will not conduct the prayer because of the pain I'm going through. You know, there was a time I was asking in the group. Yes, I was asking in the group, is cervical cancer or breast cancer? Is it cervical cancer that is so more painful than breast cancer? Nobody answered that my question because I was dying because of pain. And some treatments I go through. There's some treatment I go through. I went through was also tough, was also painful before I started chemotherapy. So I want to advise every one of us to be encouraged. Try to connect to altar in prayers. The Bible says with man it is with God all things are possible. Things that are impossible with man, it is possible with God. Just trust him. Just trust him for your healing, because he has already promised you of healing. In his words, he has already promised us healing. He said, you are the healed of the Lord. So you are already healed. It's just for you to manifest. Find even if it's 30 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, look for a Bible quotation you will read about healing, and trust God. Believe me, don't lose hope. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid. See, fear can even kill before the real death. There was a time when I when the devil want to speak negative things to me, especially when I'm alone. They start showing me pictures of my enemy grave, my enemy dead body. It will show me a lot of things, you know. But when the Holy Spirit come to me and talk to me, we say, tell the devil, get it behind me, because I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. Yes, I am here. God is not a man that take up a contract and stop halfway. He start and finish. He has a contract in my life. I'm a divine project. So you know the word you use, you know, to talk to God, and see your healing must surely come to pass, and obey everything they are saying. I went through a lot, cervical cancer case. It's not something to talk about. A lot of pain. I am glorifying God today that I'm not going through all those pain. I use hot water, like hot water is cold water. Even somebody who is pressing the hot water, my husband who is pressing the hot water, giving me, his
His
hand
hand
will
is
be
paining
burning.
him.
But me that is using the hot water, yes, me that is using the hot water to press myself inside my body. It's as if the hot water is cold water. I will cry, everybody in the house will cry. But I never give up. My spirit never, I never felt weak. I never felt it is all over. It's a lie. I said no. I'm going nowhere. It's for testimony. This disease is not for death, but for testimony. You know? So that faith kept me moving. I do fasting and try to be fasting, please. Even if it's 6 to 12. Like now, I am in 14 days fasting. That 14 days fasting, if I connect to altar, I see they're having fast, I will join. I don't ask questions before I start my fasting. I do my fasting anytime. I don't eat early. So we try to fast because doctor has also said a lot of things concerning cancer and fasting, how it helps, not only cancer, other diseases, how it helps our body. And you know, when God say some kind of sickness, some kind of demons cannot go away unless you pray and fast. When the disciples asked him, why can't we do all these miracles that you're doing? He said some of these things cannot go unless you fast and pray. So you learn how to fast, be encouraged, trust God, obey what they are saying as the instructions, look for a way. I know it's not easy. Buying all these things is not easy. I don't know how to say it. This evening, my husband went out with 20,000 naira to get me some fruit. He was able to get only small apple, grape, and blueberry. You know, it was not much because I want to blend with celery and drink. You know, if you look at what he bought for 20,000, where I was even, he said, check the docket, check the receipt, look at it. You know, I was just looking at it. I see anybody that doesn't even have support, I don't know how the person is going to survive. That is why you have to hold God strong. He never forget or forsake his children.
In the Nigerian of today.
Yes, cancer treatment is not easy, and cancer pain is not easy. The journey of cancer is not easy, but because we have God and these doctors, the Lord will make it easy for us. Be strong, don't be afraid. That is what I want to say, and trust God.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Minister Joy. You are really a minister indeed, and I know that you have encouraged a lot of people. So also in this vein, I am encouraging everybody, not because it is easy, but because we have to do the needful. Okay? It's not because it's easy, but it's because we have to do the needful. So if you have any questions, because our time is fast spent, if you have any questions, please do well to drop the questions in the different platforms, no matter where you used to join us, whether you joined us on WhatsApp or you joined us on Facebook or TikTok or anywhere. Do well to drop your questions, and your questions will get attention, appropriate attention. So thank you again for your attention to this matter. I appreciate each and every one of you that came on live with us tonight. And my prayer is that God will grant each and every of our heart desires. And for some of us who are desiring and praying for healing, that healing will come your way. Some of the principles that we continue to preach, I want to encourage you to find a way to imbibe them. Find a way to, fall in line, because that is the fastest route to recovery that you have. Thank you again for being live with me, and I pray that you have a wonderful night rest. I'll attend to the questions as they come in. At least I have 30 more minutes. Thank you, Minister Joy, for affording us the opportunity to learn from you and to be blessed by you. I pray that God will replenish you, and also to your supportive husband and family. Very loving and supportive family indeed. My prayer for every other cancer patient is to have a family like yours, so that we have that supportive community. All right. Thank you, Minister Joy. Greet your husband
Thank
for
you,
me,
sir.
for giving
You
the
will hear, sir.
opportunity. Yeah. God bless you. Have a wonderful night rest.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh.